All right, everybody. Today we have a special treat. We're going to be talking to another YouTuber from Australia. And one of the coolest things I found about our channel is we have a large Australian audience because it looks like from our research, we're like, why is everybody in Australia watching our channel? Australia seems to have more interest in true crime, even American true crime, than I think some Americans have, which is super interesting. So I'm going to bring on an Australian YouTuber that we've met recently. We have a lot of things to talk about in the Mickey Stines case, Ben Fields, the related case to Mickey Stines. And I'm going to talk with Jodi from Defense Rest. By the way, as a quick funny aside, did you know that UK/Australia, they just spell defense differently than we do? So I was like, did she misspell her own title name? No, like this is one of the nuances of different countries with slight different spellings. It's hilarious to me. So we're going to have a lot of things to go through as I get to know Aussies and all this, but I'm going to have to learn how to say things right and pronounce things right and all that shit. So I got work to do. So I'm going to bring Jodi on screen. We're going to get going. The devil's in the details. Let's go.
G'day.
Oh, right. G'day. See, I gotta learn that. I can't do the accent though.
It's defense with a C, so I see you.
I know. See, I know. I when I saw the defense, I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. Something's wrong with the spelling. And then I was like, this is the typical thing that's going to happen. If I spell it the Americanized way, people in Australia will say I don't know how to spell the word. If I spell it the Australian way, then they'll be like, that idiot doesn't know how to spell. So I can't win. Hopefully people will just get over it. The spelling thing is a thing. But how are you doing today? It's good. It's good to talk to you.
And you. It's lovely to meet you too. It's it's opposite here. Like we are in a heat wave and you're in an ice storm. So it's bizarre. Bizarre weather.
By the way, is Australia more than one time zone? Like, is it split down the middle in two different time zones?
No, it's from the top to the bottom.
From the top to the bottom.
Yeah, so I'm at the bottom.
I got so much to learn.
That's my biggest problem.
Yeah, you got
to convert time zones.
Yeah, because you guys got a wicked time differential between me and here. I think it's like 14, 15 hours or something like that.
Correct.
Differential is it's pretty crazy. And you're in the future, I think, from us, because I think you're like a day ahead of me or something.
You want the tax lotto ticket numbers?
Yeah, it's crazy. So look, I'm excited to talk to you. It seems like you've been in YouTube about the same time as we have, about a year or so. For us, it seems like Idaho 4 is the case that doesn't die. But when we saw the Mickey Stines case, the shooting of the judge in Kentucky, and I started to look into the allegations that they were running a scam and they were running women through the ankle monitoring system and using that as a way to coerce them into having sexual. And I was like, oh my God, this case is going to get nuts, because now you're talking about judicial corruption, law enforcement corruption. It could go really high if this has been going on.
Seems to be a running theme at the moment. Corruption at the moment. It's ridiculous.
For sure. And I think this case is potentially going to get nuts. I already suspect, and I've talked to you a little bit about it as well. When I first started looking into, and that's what I want to talk to you a lot about today, is Ben Fields' case that's coming up specifically in I think it's March is the trial date that they have set.
Civil suit, yes, with Sabrina.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The civil suit already. I mean, when I saw Jennifer Hill, who had been added to Sabrina Atkins' case and then just died. And literally, every news agency just said she just died, and so those charges have been dropped.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't just die. I mean, yes, it does sometimes happen, but
there
in
was
a case like this,
two on that case.
Two that died. Who's the other one?
Lexi or Alexis Bentley. Alexis. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And was she going to testify, or?
There was initially, apparently, because I was talking to Tyre yesterday, and I actually asked her about it, and she said that she was listed as a fourth defendant initially, but then withdrew. Well, obviously, she withdrew because she died.
There was another. I'm curious about her death, because, as I understand, so first of all, let's cover a little bit about the case so that those who are not familiar with it can understand. So allegedly, so we were Ben Fields actually was convicted of felony sodomy and rape charges in the judge's chambers, and the story basically is, it's an unbelievable story that the deputy of Letcher County was basically supervising women that were on ankle monitoring, basically home arrest, if you will, ankle monitoring system, and he would use a bribe situation where he would say, look, if you can't afford your weekly charge for the ankle monitor and or you want some more freedom, we can just leave your ankle monitor at the courthouse. You can go home free of that, but it's going to cost you a little something on the side. And so they would arrange sex for coming off ankle monitor. Right.
Yeah.
And Ben Fields in the criminal case tried to argue, look at the text messages. Sabrina seduced me. She
they tried to call it a relationship. Because she didn't fight him off, because that consent isn't, it doesn't cover people that are incarcerated.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, here's what's interesting. I just recently went out to Pacer and got some court documents, and I saw the text messages between Sabrina and Ben Fields, and I could understand. And it's funny because in the upcoming trial, the civil trial, the defense is arguing, you can't show those text messages. It wasn't relevant in the criminal case. It's not relevant in the civil case, but they still had it in the documents because it's a motion in limine. They're trying to decide whether or not they're going to allow it. So I read through them, and I will say, if you didn't know the whole story, it kind of does look like Sabrina's kind of flirting with them and suggesting the sex thing. But the reason being is that she was
that's the overhead threat. Like, it's that umbrella hanging over your head you don't have to say to someone, if you do this, I'm going to do this to you, or forcibly put yourself on someone for it to be non-consensual. And as far as incarcerated, people go, that they're covered. Like, you cannot do it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly what they said in the criminal cases. They said, the fact that Ben Fields was in a supervisory type position like that, and in uniform and all those things, there's no way you can argue we're just friends and she likes me kind of argument, because you have the implied control of her history or her future.
Correct.
Yeah, and he literally threatened to put her back in jail if she didn't play ball.
He did many times. He did.
Yeah.
And same as Jennifer.
So, I mean, yeah, and so even I want to point this out too, just for talking points. Even though the text messages kind of show Sabrina started the conversation, the allegation is that when she was incarcerated, she was told by other female inmates, hey, look, this guy who's going to be in charge of you is willing to trade sexual favors for getting off the home monitoring system and whatever, and keeping you out of prison. So she already had been told that's the game that you have to play if you want.
Well, she would have known the judge too,
out of jail.
It's common knowledge that's where you go and what you do. In fact, mothers would recommend their children do it so that they didn't cop a felony charge.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so to bring things up to speed. So then Sabrina Atkins, she has again, he got convicted ultimately of
with a cushy 6 months,
an inmate and cushy 6 months, right? I mean, multiple felonies, and I think he got sentenced to maybe 6 or 7 years, but spent a whole 6 months actually behind bars with a couch and shit and whatever, cushy, right?
And his wife Angie got a promotion, and he got to see her every day while he was there because she works at the jail and the courthouse.
And that's the other thing people don't understand, how this is a small county. Ben Fields was convicted of felonies. His wife works at the jail where Sabrina was incarcerated, I believe. Or was it just Jennifer that was
his
where
sister
she was?
Works in the drug court.
In the drug court. Yeah. Ben Fields' wife works at the jail, and his sister works at the drug court.
The sister,
it's insane.
Sister put Sabrina back in jail for once. Was it her or Jennifer? Sabrina. Yeah, the sister claimed something in drug court that had a failed blood test, a failed urine test or something, and one of them went back to jail. That's just what they did. How dare you say no to my brother?
So I know it's hard. I mean, I'm all over the place. Do you believe Ben Fields wife knows what Ben Fields was doing, that his sister knows, and that they worked with him to keep women in the trapped in the system?
Well, if she didn't then, she fucking does now, and she's still with him. So
right. Right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
And she's still working there.
Right. If she's still with him, if she's still married and it didn't bother her, then maybe she knew all along, and maybe that was part of the deal. And
yeah, they sound like a lovely couple.
That's insane to think about. Wow, I just dropped a can on the floor and it just like made a huge loud noise. Anyway, sorry about that. So as we're coming up to speed, so again, in the civil trial, so people in America, like we need to explain the criminal trial and the civil trial have very different purposes. So the criminal trial basically for Ben Fields, which is done, and he was convicted and spent time in jail for what it's worth, was more of a, did you break a law or not? That's what it was. It was more of a, did you break a law or not? The civil trial is more about now that we know you broke the law, what should be the punishment as far as financial penalties? Yes. Maybe the sheriff's department should have actually been able to stop this, didn't properly train or supervise their employees.
Well,
it's where the big money comes in.
Yes, it does. Well, especially when you go to the county. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're all responsible.
I mean, yeah. And so a perfect example of this was way back in the day in America when we had O.J. Simpson. He was cleared in the criminal trial, but then he got hammered in the civil trial. This is a similar kind of situation where Ben Fields isn't out of the loop here because he served his time. He's got a bigger thing coming with this civil trial. And in fact, a lot more details come out in civil trials than in the criminal trial. And,
that's why we're having
and so that's why I would argue people are dying. People are literally dying now and of mysterious deaths because of what can come out in that civil trial.
Years and years, Lee. It's been going on for years. And it did slow down initially when Judge Mullins was unalived, but it's still happening. And it's still a real threat for these women.
Yeah, and I have a feeling there's a lot of people in that county that are terrified to talk. I mean, rumor has it everyone in that county knows this has been going on for 20 years or more.
Yes.
So, but nobody wants to say anything because they're afraid for their lives, because people are literally going to start dying.
They were scared for the repercussions initially when the judge was alive, because he had the power to put them back in jail, take their children off them, and a lot of them still are fighting that because his rulings are still active. So, yeah, there's the main women that have come forward. There is 20 behind them that are behind the scenes talking, but too afraid to come forward. And
the question I have is, in a small county like that, Judge Mullins probably knows all the other judges in the county, and I mean, already in Mickey Stein's case, they're arguing that the judge overseeing Mickey Stein's case coming up for the shooting of the judge might have to recuse himself because he's friends with Kevin Mullins.
He was in a committee with him, and the committee had a meeting that actually was recorded, and they were seen seated together on the screen, and that was a week before the shooting. So the judge should never have taken this in the first place. He knows. I call my channel the Devil's Advocates, and I want to kind of play Devil's Advocates with that, because I agree. It looks bad when the judge that's going to preside over somebody shooting his colleague, they know each other. They sat right next to each other. Now, the only thing I can say is I did watch a little bit of that public hearing. It's on YouTube where you can go watch the public hearing where the two are sitting next to each other. The meeting. Well, it was supposed to be a 2-hour meeting, but I only saw a little clip of them together. And they never even, in the clip that I saw for a few minutes, they never even looked at each other. They did sit right next to each other, but didn't even look to each other. So the question becomes, and it's documented that they were there, so on more than one occasion together. Yeah. So he knew. They were just trying
the question. I guess the question. Sorry, I don't mean to step. We have a little bit of a delay, so it's making it a little hard for us. But yeah. The question I have, the playing devil's advocates, is in a small county, could you just argue that, well, everybody knows everybody, so every judge is going to know somebody, and they were simply at a meeting, and so because two judges from a small community happen to sit together doesn't mean they're friends. So there's not propriety.
County. They called him in as a special judge. sit in the case.
Yeah,
So-
right. He's special counsel.
Correct.
Yeah, or not counsel,
yeah,
but
no.
special judge. Yeah,
That's their way of controlling.
yeah. It's funny that the Kentucky Supreme Court is letting that judge decide for
Make his
himself
own
whether or not
choice,
he's got a
yeah.
conflict of interest. Well, and to be fair,
What
that's
about
the way
that
it
law?
usually is done. I mean, a judge usually recuses themselves rather than. So I don't know. They might still force him out if he doesn't decide to do the right
They'd be
thing on his
silly if
own.
they didn't
And
for a couple of reasons.
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about those murders. I meant to get there. Well, I shouldn't say murders because we don't know, right? Officially, they're
Allegedly, yes.
one's a
Suspicious.
suicide and one's an accident. Officially,
Uh,
right?
Which ones are you talking about? Jennifer and
So Jennifer Hill, I think. So Jennifer Hill, I'm still looking for the official answer how she died, but her son seems to think that she overdosed. So
yes. Oh, well,
they would probably call that
that's the
an
story.
accident, right? She accidentally overdosed, right? The other one, you said her name, Alexi.
Yes.
She hung herself and committed suicide. So that's the official
Whilst
story.
she was in a glass dome at the psych ward hospital thing, under 15 minutes surveillance, and she was in a turtle suit and had access to a sheet.
Look, I'm with you, but I know how we work in America, and it was like when Jeffrey Epstein hung himself in his cell. It's like, dude, people just get remorse, and he hung himself, and almost nobody believes that he hung himself. They know it was a murder. The whole thing stinks, and it's the same kind of situation. For me, the sniff test tells me both
Correct.
of these women were murdered, but of course, the official story is accident and a suicide.
There is a backstory to that. So Lexi was at Letcher County Jail, and she was just about finished serving her time. She'd been to rehab. She cleared from there, and she had rung Tyre and said, can you pick me up once I've been released? And that was all organised. And because Judge Mullins had rang her and lured her back to Letcher County, and the promise that she was able to see her son again. And that's what the plan was. So he said, but you have to be here by a certain date. And so she went from Letcher to once it was a space of like 24 hours between two phone calls. The first one to Tyre was pick me up. The second was that she's dead. And Tyre swears black and blue that she was not suicidal. She was not depressed. She was actually excited to come back because she thought she was seeing her son. And she didn't get back here. There.
It's so disturbing. I mean, it was, again, a similar thing happened in the Jeffrey Epstein thing. People who saw Jeffrey Epstein the day before he hung himself said he was in good mood. He was positive. He was expecting to do well in his court case, and then he hangs himself. And we're all supposed to believe that he just went from being happy one day to depressed and killing himself the next.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all supposed to just act like we just buy it. Like, oh, okay, yeah, shit happens. People get depressed and they kill themselves.
And the second that you add that, they had addiction issues, then they're just,
Yeah. Yes. It's again, it's the victim shaming. Well, she was a drug addict. Oh, she was a criminal. So, shit happens.
In fact,
or just they live a rough life.
It's still going on because yesterday, one of Ty's friends went to the ED to ask for she's got a massive abscess, and she went for some antibiotics. And as soon as she said that she'd had addiction issues, previously. They treated her like shit. She didn't want to go back.
Let's talk about Taya a little bit because we keep mentioning her. I'm not sure our audience knows who Taya is and how Taya is connected, and I think we're going to talk to Taya later as well.
Yes.
So why don't you kind of bring us in on Taya's story and how she's connected, so that when we bring her on, everybody kind of knows a bit of her backstory.
Yep. So Taya, she was 16 when she met Judge Mullins. She was doing work experience. She'd been sent out to the Letcher County courthouse to learn how to take a deposition. And she was introduced to Judge Mullins that day, and he took her into his chambers and basically got her to perform oral sex, threw a tissue at her, threw some money at her and said, go clean yourself up. And from that moment onwards, he spent years grooming her, basically supplying drugs. Cocaine was the drug of choice. That was his drug of choice. She was made to perform in sex parties and stuff. They had multiple properties around the county, and probably still do. Each one was set up with certain things, and they would just pick whichever one they went to, and she would have to turn up and perform and do whatever. And that went on for years and years. And that if she refused, they either sent them to jail, or they sanctioned them, or whatever would turn a profit, basically, because, you know, anyone that goes through that system has a monetary figure pretty much attached to the back of them for grants and what have you, especially through the rehab programs. And they have it all set up nice and neatly to just cycle you back in and out for as many times as they want to. They've got complete control over you, complete control. And they just make you feel, or they made them feel so belittled and degraded. And if you've got the judge there sitting there who controls every decision, you want to complain to someone, who do you complain to? You know, the sheriff's department, they couldn't go to, they were corrupt. The judge you can't go to because he's only going to punish you for doing that. You can't win. And the attorneys, everyone in that, it's horrible.
I mean, it sounds like a very elaborate system in which you're going to be arrested. A judge is in on it. They'll throw the book at you, and you have no. Once you get into the system, they've got you. They've got you trapped.
So basically, they target the vulnerable ones when they turn up at young ages with a DUI or a possession charge, and once they're in there, they come into the misdemeanors court, which is where Judge Mullins was. And so he would then allocate them wherever, and then Judge Kraft up the top, if it was a felony, he'd do the same, and he's still doing the same. He's still there.
So, you know, our hope, and we got more to talk about. I want to talk about the sex parties. I want to talk about how long it's been going on. I want to talk about the allegations of what may have happened the day that Kevin Mullins was shot and killed in the judge's chambers by Mickey Stines, the sheriff at the time. I want to talk about all those things, but I want to say this, by the way, this entrapment system of coercing women on ankle monitoring to basically, because again, it comes with a cost to the inmate. The inmate has to pay for that ankle monitoring service.
$85 a week.
And a lot of these people are indigent. They don't have money. They can't afford it.
Right.
And so, but they don't want to go back to jail. So it's easy to coerce them, you know.
Lesser of two evils.
Right. And I've been told, that I would be surprised to find out this happens in a lot of places in the United States. This is not just a Letcher County problem. This whole scam of running women through the system using the ankle monitoring system is a scam that happens all over the United States, from what I understand. This is not the only county where this happens, which is terrifying to think how many other little Letcher counties are there where this kind of stuff's happening.
Oh yeah. And I can't work out. What gets me is the money. Like if you've got so many people listed on your home incarceration with ankle monitors, shouldn't you have to justify how many of those are actually being paid for, rented from the rental property for the ankle monitors themselves? Like, wouldn't you have to balance that with what's coming in? But sorry, whilst I remember that,
I would assume. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned it, because the details is what's been bothering me too. I assumed, you know, the ankle monitor still has to be paid for. So I kind of assumed that Ben Fields must have been paying for it for her. Like,
no, what I actually found out was the company that they get it from, it's a set price per week. And apparently the Letcher County person that manages the ankle monitors can set their own price. So, but yeah.
How convenient. And the other thing, by the way, and this is what oh my God, look, there has to be a lot of people involved in this. A lot of people.
It's like one of those snowballs that gathers all the way down the hill.
Yeah, and it seems to me those ankle monitors would have GPS tracking. So again, allegedly, for those who don't understand, and I want to kind of break it down before we get back to Mickey Stines, the women would be on ankle monitor, for example, at the courthouse, allegedly taking and wearing that all the way home. And the the ankle monitor would say, look, you can be within X number of feet of the courthouse, or you can be in X number of feet of your house, and that's it. But the deal was that they would take the ankle monitor off at the courthouse so that it never set off an alarm because it was still within range of the courthouse. And then the person would leave the courthouse, not setting off the alarm because the ankle monitor is still at the courthouse. And then when they came back for a court hearing, they would just have them go back behind the judge's chambers, put the ankle monitor on, go before the public and look like you've been on an ankle monitor the whole time when you haven't. Go back into the judge's chambers after your court appearance and take it back off.
Yeah. A lot of them would actually take it home with them. Like, he would set it ready to go and like turn it on and then turn it off again, and they would take it home. But I think that there has to be a setting on there where, because obviously you can set it for that your geofence. Initially, you have to go out to the property and set up the detectors and what have you, which Ben used to do.
Yes.
So you go home, and if it's turned off, well, no one's going to know because it's not going to send any messages. But if you set the geofence to not alarm, it's not going to alert anybody either. So they may not even have to have had it there.
Right. In fact, that was one of the allegations against Ben Fields, is that he had tampered with the home monitoring system at her home so that he could turn it off so that it wouldn't go. Right.
He installed it and then had her arrested for not having a properly installed monitoring system.
Right. Oh my gosh. So you're right. It was so nefarious. He literally helped her disable the home monitoring system. And then when she didn't want to play ball anymore, he said, oh, did you disable your home monitoring system, and arrest her for it? It's diabolical. It's diabolical.
And that's only just the surface. Like there is just, your mind will be blown. I cannot.
So the allegations that and so I can't remember. There was another person that came forward. I saw a porch interview with them, and maybe it was Ty.
Yeah, her identity is she wants to keep that redacted, so we'll just call her Kate. But yes, there was another person, and I don't know a great deal about that because I'm actually about to do her deposition on our next stream, but there was issues with her mother, I think, not wanting her to testify. And so I think she might have withdrawn at the late. You'd have to speak to Tyre to clarify all that.
Well, why would a mother want somebody to testify? Because people are going to end up dead if they testify. If they've got really good information, they're going to end up having an accident or they're going to hang themselves. Yeah. Right. Because anybody who has really, really bad information.
You can understand as a mother that you wouldn't want that to happen.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be convinced not to testify because they want to live or they want their family member to live, and so they're like, again, if you have something really, really damning like video, then people are going to die to keep that video from coming out.
Well, that was one of the main reasons that Lexi's no longer with us, because she actually had videos of her with Judge Mullins, and she'd taken them to the sheriff's office, and they'd seen them, and it wasn't much long after that she was found hanging.
From what I understand, and the rumor is from what I understand, a lot of people. So let's break down a little bit the shooting of Kevin Mullins by Mickey Stines, and you have to understand they're two separate cases, two different trials, but totally related, in my opinion. So Mickey Stines was the sheriff, and Ben Fields was his deputy. And Ben Fields, like I said, was tried and criminally convicted of sodomy and rape charges by sodomizing, Sabrina Atkins in the judge's chambers and Kevin Mullins' chambers. And Mickey Stines, as Ben Fields' supervisor, as the sheriff at the time, had been deposed in Ben Fields' case and was giving testimony as to, did you properly train your law enforcement officers not to sodomize women in the judge's chambers? Kind of thing.
The wrong way to do it.
Yeah. Did you tell them that it was wrong to do that? Like, because you should have told them it was wrong to do that.
But anyways,
go ahead.
He's just the dumb one that got caught. He's that silly. Like, he just pushed it.
So it seemed to me that the rumors are this. shortly after Mickey Stines was deposed in Benfield's criminal trial, somebody warned Mickey Stines, you better shut your mouth. In fact, you better hurt yourself or your family is going to get hurt.
Yes,
and it wasn't shortly after that. Yeah, it wasn't. What did you say?
Yeah, that was allegedly Daniel Dotson.
Daniel Dotson, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, Mickey Stein's own attorneys has said this, that Mickey Stines was threatened, that he was told to hurt himself and basically told to shut the fuck up, don't talk about this case, and don't testify against Ben Fields. And so, sometime shortly after that, and sometime shortly after that, then Ben. I'm getting all the names. Mickey Stines, who's kind of friends with Kevin Mullins, they have a relationship. They've had a long going on. Walks into the judge's chambers, dismisses everybody, and tells everybody to get the hell out, and then guns them down right in the judge's chambers. And you think to yourself, "There's no way that shit's not related to the Ben Fields thing and the deposition of Ben Fields case." And the part that's the $1 million question, and I want to talk about this.
Yep.
On camera, many people have seen. Mickey Stines comes in. A lot of us have seen video without audio, in which Mickey Stines appears to be going through his own personal phone, right? He's going through his own personal phone, and he places perhaps a phone call. Some believe he was calling his daughter, and she didn't answer. And then he asks the judge for his phone, and Kevin Mullins tosses his phone kind of nonchalantly, like, "Oh, whatever, look at my phone." Mickey Stein starts going through the judge's phone, looks like he places a call, and then shortly after that, he gets up and just guns him down. And there's a lot of rumors about what. Yeah. And so the rumors were, of course, they're like, well, let's put it all together. If Mickey just called his daughter and she didn't answer him, but then he calls from the judge's phone and she answers the judge's phone, did he flip out and be like, why is my fuck? Because Mickey Stines has to know what's going on in that county. He has to know. So he would be troubled, as any father would be. Why is my daughter answering the judge's phone and not my phone? But is that what happened? We don't know. Like that's some of the rumors.
They did ring Leah, yes. I don't know what the conversation was. It's my understanding that he rang her to confirm her safety because their lives had been threatened because of his testimony. They were very scared about what he would say, that it would incriminate all of them. So Daniel Dotson actually, I think he appeared by Zoom, but not in a professional capacity, just to observe, to put the pressure on, to make sure that Mickey didn't say anything he wasn't supposed to.
And so, I've heard all kinds of rumors about what really happened. I think his daughter Lila, is that how she pronounced her name? Yeah. Lila. I think she flat out said, there's nothing going on with me and the judge. Nobody ever threatened me or my mom. Like, everybody needs to shut the hell up. Nothing's going on. But again, we have to ask, why wouldn't you say that if your life's been threatened? Of course you're going to tell everybody, leave it alone.
I don't believe that they were aware. Perhaps Mickey may not have told them not to worry them, perhaps. I don't know if they were aware of the threats to them or not, basically. But like, if you're accused of having sex with Judge Mullins, are you going to come out and admit it? No.
Yeah.
Like, I can't say one way or the other, but why would you answer the judge's phone? Like, I don't know. And not your father.
And then there's the idea that someone but
she wasn't listed in his contacts. Okay.
Right. But if he just dialed the number, yeah.
I don't know why.
There's the other. Yeah, there's other allegations that, well, was Mickey shooting the judge because he was threatened, or did Mickey see something else or hear something else that prompted him to shoot the judge? Like, what exactly happened in that moment is $1 million question. And again, it's the kind of question that no one wants to come out in court. What exactly prompted Mickey to shoot the judge? What did he see? What did he hear? Yeah.
Multiple things.
So, and in this case, I feel like this case, they're going to try. Here's the thing. Like, they've only set aside 4 days for the Benfield civil trial. They're trying to make it a quick 4 days. That's what they said. They anticipate the trial's 4 days only. And I'm like,
have you seen the amount of depositions they're going to go through? They're planning. They're all done.
Yeah.
They're going to play the 5th. You watch.
I think they're planning on steamrolling it. They're hoping. I think they're really hoping for a settlement that'll never go to trial. I don't think they. I honestly don't think they're intending to go to trial. I think they're going to try to settle. They're going to, and again, if enough people die, you'll settle because there won't be a case left. So
well, she's already settled with
the shit out of me watching.
That part's apparently been done. The ankle monitor, she's settled with them, but the rest no. And I mean, if they're putting 4 days on that with all those depositions, they're expecting people to plead the fifth, at least some of them. They have to.
Yeah.
Because
unless I'm reading it wrong, it was 4 days 4 days is what they set aside. They said the trial would last no more than 4 days, and I was like, man, that's pretty quick.
Yeah.
For something at this level. Which makes me think that they don't intend it to really go to trial. They're just going to try to
if they're going
to plead this thing out.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense at all.
So going back to Taya thing, I know that Taya has been, reached out to by other entities, other reporters and with that. Like this case is going to get a lot of attention and is coming up. What is her stance? Is she afraid for her life, or is she just kind of like, I'm going to tell everybody that'll listen, and that's my way to protect myself? Like what is her
correct
feel?
So when the judge when the shooting happened, her first thought was relief, basically, that she finally that we can speak out, because they believed that the linchpin had been removed. So, and this forced everyone to watch, everyone to look, because you can't ignore the fact that the judge has been shot. So they have to deal with it now. They have to address it. So they pretty much, I think, went into damage control more than anything. But she had a sense of relief. So that's when she came forward and spoke out about it. She was the first one to come out with the allegations of the sexual abuse, and told her story. And then there's been Gemma after that, and Jamie Red, oh God. I'm going to have to look that up. Jamie Redfern or something like that. But she testified mainly talking about what had happened to her mother, and how that had been going on for so long and passed down, like it was her mother encouraging her to go and sort it out. Go and talk to Judge Mullins. He'll sort it out for you. So her experiences as the next generation on that were learning how the system worked, basically. Jamie Rayburn.
I'm afraid for people, because I personally don't feel like this stops with the judge. I don't think he's the top. No. I think it goes way higher than the judge, right? And so I don't know that people's safety is in place.
Yeah, she's had her life threatened since then, and there's a lot of people that even associating with her have had incidences. Like her best friend Brandy, who's been her best friend since she was 16, she has never had a criminal record at all, and she's been behind the scenes providing safe houses for these women for 20 years and still is, and she was targeted as well by law enforcement. They started with her son, and they basically took him into the system and churned him for 15 years. And she ended up having to get him out of the county just to get him safe and away from them. And he suffered terribly whilst he was incarcerated. And she's also at the moment she's fighting for her grandchildren, because they've targeted the grandchildren now to hurt her, to get at her. And she's never broken the law in her life. Never been arrested. She's just the most beautiful woman.
Part of me thought we should have started with this, but I wanted to get into the story quicker and not spend too much time. I want to backtrack a little bit and ask, how did you in Australia get interested in a small little Letcher County, Kentucky, USA story, and get so involved in talking to victims? And how did that happen?
All right. So my mod Teresia lives in Kentucky, and she had sent me the Ty's interview, actually, and I watched it, and she's like, this is just ridiculous. You've got no idea. Letcher County is terrible. Rah, rah, rah. and I watched it, and I don't know, something, my heart went out to her, and something just said I needed to speak to her. I don't know why. So I literally stalked her, hunted her down, finally got hold of her, and when we started talking, it was like, you know, when you meet someone that you think you've known for years type of thing, and we speak daily now, like she's one of my good friends, and so is Brandy, and I don't know, it just evolved like that. So I'm personally invested in this now, like, I'm just trying to do as much as I can because the more light that you shed on it, the more people that are aware, the safer the women are, because they can't do anything if the media
can't kill everybody, right? They can't kill everybody. Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the objective is, because, you know, until someone is charged through this trial, if it even gets there, if he doesn't take a plea, you know, the threat is still there. It is still there, and they're scared.
What bothers me, I don't know how you feel about this, but what bothers me is some of these ladies that are talking to you, for example, whatever, they're being contacted by mainstream media, and I don't feel mainstream media is even trustworthy anymore. And I worry because the mainstream media is getting a hold of it, they're going to put their own spin on it, and it worries me, because I feel like, again, they don't even do investigative reporting anymore. They've decided, they already decide how they want the trial to go out, and then they spin that narrative, and they get people on TV to,
they've basically
tell
just
half stories.
They've basically just kept it as, you know, Kevin Mullins and the sex extortion stuff, but it's so much deeper than that, way deeper than that. So.
Right, because I feel like they want to spin this as the story's over. It's a guy shot a judge and it's over. It's, you know, we know who did it. There's not much mystery here. Move on. And I'm like, you're missing the bigger problem. If for 20 plus years or more, the entire county knows that there's sex parties and that women who are incarcerated are forced into sex and traded around, like checked out like library books from the prison system, that's a major problem.
They traffic women, they traffic the children.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, and it sounds like it goes into underage girls as well. Yes. So we got child, sex trafficking, like the whole thing. That's the kind of stuff that gets people killed. And I'm really afraid. Simultaneously, I agree with the logic that the more people that know about it, the more safety there is, because they can't kill everybody. But by the same token, the wrong people talking is going to get people killed. And so it's a very, very,
it depends. I mean, if mainstream media just talk about the allegations against the judge, that's still exposure for them, and it's still not negative exposure for them so much, as long as they're not victim shaming. But you can't trust them to bring the real story. You really need people that are dedicated to presenting the truth and not being clickbait, and hence why we're here.
So as a preview, I know that, you've talked about having Taya get on with the two of us and have a discussion. What is her comfort level in what she's sharing? I mean, it sounds like her story involves a time when she was underage, right? Is she?
Absolutely. Yes.
And she's willing to tell that story and talk about it. And
absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's got nothing to hide.
I commend her. Yeah, I commend her bravery, and I think, like you said, in some regards, being open about it and talking about it, the more people that know, the more that people won't die another mysterious death. Yeah,
it's her way of healing by talking about it, and that way they're actually trying to turn something that is so heinous and negative that's happened to them for many, many years into something positive. Now, like Taya did, she when she first got into the system, she'd done some small time, and then she was in the booking cell at Letcher County, and another woman had come in that had been arrested, and she was waiting there to be indicted or something, and they had a bit of a physical altercation. Well, Taya got 12 years for that. She got charged with kidnapping.
Wow.
They got it from,
and so now in the system she goes, and
she was in a cell waiting. They told her that it was initially 7.5 years. By the time she got round to the sentencing office, they'd bumped it to 12. And once she actually did all of her time and she had all of these conditions to her bail, she'd completed everything, she got out, and they said that whilst she was incarcerated, they had doubled her child support with interest. So she hadn't fulfilled all of the requirements of her bond. So she's still on parole until 2099 or something.
Again, it's on the level of diabolical how they get women in the system and then they trap them and they throw on charges and make it so they can't afford to fight it. And
who do you go to and say, hey, this is wrong? The same judge that sentenced you. That's going to
especially when they're just going to victim shame and they're going to be like, oh, well, look, she's a junkie, she's a criminal, look at all the bad things she's done. Of course, they're all things that they tell you that she did.
Yeah, and you can't request an outside judge to come in because Judge Kraft upstairs has to approve it.
Man,
it's tied up in nice.
So look, it's insane, and I think for now we'll probably leave this with a teaser, kind of an introduction for people who are kind of just getting into the case. We're going to have Taya come on and talk to us. I think everyone is going to get to know Taya a lot better in the months ahead. She's going to have several appearances, it sounds like, on different television shows and documentaries. So you're going to get to know her very, very well. I'm looking forward to meeting her and hearing her story firsthand. You'll love her.
You'll love her.
Yeah, I feel, and it's horrible. Like, I feel bad that we have to meet her on this kind of circumstances, but yeah.
So breed them strong in Appalachia.
Yeah. So anything that you want to discuss before we finish? Anything in particular you want to know about us or about
us to
know about you?
Like I would just like to say to people, keep an open mind. You haven't seen all the evidence, you haven't heard all the evidence, and you never told all the evidence, basically, because not all of it. It's all vetted, basically. So find someone that you actually trust that has the receipts and can tell the right story. Like, you're hearing it straight from victims' mouths. So why would they've got nothing to gain from that, really. Why would you expose that?
Yeah.
Yourself. So just keep an open mind. And it's not our place to assign guilt or innocence anyway. It's a job of a jury. We're here to provide you with as much evidence as we can and the truth so that you can make your own informed decision.
Yeah, and unfortunately, one of the complaints I have and one of the main charges I have is that in America, we tend to convict people in the court of public opinion before the jury even hears it. Oftentimes,
what happened to innocent until proven guilty?
Yeah, right. And so I'm afraid in this case as well, a lot of the jury is already going to be told certain things before they even get a chance. Now, granted, Ben Fields' case is coming up very quickly. There's not a lot of time for them to put a spin on it at this point, but I think it's this case is going to be crazy. Mickey Stein's case is going to be crazy. It'll stun me if this just says, sorry, it was a plea deal on
aren't clean by any means. He's no angel.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, I agree. Like Mickey Stines, by the way, himself is an interesting case. He ran for sheriff multiple times. The community apparently loves him. In fact,
he was elected.
The prosecution, exactly. He was elected, and the prosecution wants to move it out of the county because too many people love the guy. But is he?
It's unusual for the state to be able to do that, isn't it?
It is totally. It is totally weird that the prosecution wants to move it because they're afraid too many people like the guy. But yet, at the end of the day, you have to believe he knew what was going on in that county. That sheriff knew what was going on. He was friends with the judge. He knows what's going on with the judge.
He was the judge's bailiff for at least 10 years prior to that, and before he was sheriff. Yes.
Right.
And Ben
doing the same kind of job that Ben Fields was doing.
Ben Fields took his exact position, and the ankle monitor position was Mickey's as well. So did he walk into a nice
one might think, one might think Mickey Stines could have taught Ben Fields how to do that maneuver.
Well, I will say, out of all of that, not one person has come forward at all to complain about any sexual assault or impropriety by Mickey at all. I think it was maybe more a money laundering thing for Mickey. Perhaps that, the judge charged the ankle monitor at $20 a week and the charge the client 100. Split the difference, yeah?
Yeah, I want to reiterate what you said. A lot of people have never said Mickey Stines was involved in the sexual stuff.
I've not heard anyone say.
Yes. Now, Mickey himself did say he engaged in inappropriate text messages with his deputies, and he would send lewd pictures of girls and talk about women. So it's not like he doesn't have that possibility, but a lot of people have said Mickey wasn't really involved in it like this. So, how much did he know? How much was he involved? That's still a question. But to be fair, again, a lot of people like Mickey Stein. A lot of people in that county like that guy. What's that? About Ben?
You can't tell me that Ben Steins is actually clever enough to come up with that entire ankle monitor thing.
Oh, Ben Fields. Yeah, Ben Fields. I keep conflating Ben Stein and Mickey Stein. Yeah, Ben Fields. Yeah. Yeah, no, I do this. I do the same thing. I say Ben Steins and like it's Ben Fields, Mickey Steins. I conflate the two all the time.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. Hopefully we can get Taya on soon and we'll have a,
She'll be there.
I think it's good that she's coming forward and telling her story. And I think it's great that you've gotten people's trust to talk to you. And I commend you for what you're doing. It's like from Australia, you're pulling this off. In a little tiny Kentucky.
Dedicated.
Well, it was great having you. Let's get together again soon.
Absolutely.
And we'll get Ty on and we'll have a good conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Bye.
You bet.